All right, so here's an example of an app I'm working on that kind of showcases what my ideas are about how to use AI in a way that can be effective for learning while still keeping the human in the loop. In fact, in the driving seat, what you'll see is the vast majority of everything is me deciding what's important and deciding on what the notes, what the quiz is, and how to personalize things with the AI just helping where it's good. So typically that's language transformations, drafting notes, drafting questions, doing personalized explanations, but fundamentally not really deciding what to learn. So, what a lot of people want to do when it comes to this kind of support, they think AI, why can't it just download the entire literature and give me a perfect summary? I mean, that is you're not going to make it if that's your attitude. You go back to TikTok because that's where you're going to get the most value out of life because you need to have that struggle. You need to be the one deciding in the driver's seat what is worth learning and why, and use the AI for what it's good at. And it's going to help around the edges for the stuff, just making it easier for me to learn. So, fundamentally, this is a note-taking app with some quizzing using spaced repetition, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on, but I think that's extremely important. Anyone who's used Anki will attest to just how borderline magical that is for learning. It's not all learning, but it's a fundamental precursor to it, and I think it's really important. Repetition and memorization is really, really crucial, and spaced repetition just works really well. So I'm trying to think, how can I use that? How can I use AI to create questions that are more kind of open-ended? So we'll see. So an example, I can create a new project on whatever I want. So can do this, and what this opens up is a new box, and I can upload documents. I can say a description for it, which the LLM will see, and then personal preferences, right? So I can say I have a background in X and Y. I particularly like these kinds of analogies and things like that, and then it will use that anytime I ask for a personal explanation. So if we go to example projects, so if I go to this one, so I've already got some docs here, so I'm going to add an extra one. And there's going to be a new one I'm going to be studying on. So I'll show you what a previous one looked like. But see, I've got a panel here where I can read the stuff and I can take notes. And there's, for example, my past notes and the past questions, and I can edit these, and they've all got tags, which are going to be useful for analytics later on. But let's go to that one I just did. So I can view, but I want to go straight to that study view. So it shows it converts it to Markdown, not very good. The Markdown converter is decent, but not very good. So I could do, well, let's see what personalized explanations are like. There's no, I haven't added any for this, I think. Well, actually, I did. Yeah, PhD in sociology, background. So I've already added this, right? So let's find something interesting where I get an explanation. Okay, so there's something interesting here that I might want to note on. Probably not. It's just something I found interesting. But let's go with the explain concept idea. So I can add a custom thing here, which the LLM will see as well before it gives me the custom explanation. And I can save this as a note if I want, or I can just dismiss it if I find it somewhat useful. All right, so giving your expertise in qualitative research was fascinating parallel, right? So this is quite a nice, deep, kind of more personalized explanation. And then here we got these. I can edit these tags later on. Like I might not want coding process methodology. I probably want to keep, and yeah, save that. That'll get saved as a note. So let's find something a bit more meaty that I'd want to test myself later on. So something I want to recall and test myself. Okay, so now I've got something fairly interesting that I might want to test myself on later on. So I can say create quiz and I'll just see what the first draft is. This is always going to need editing, so nothing ever gets saved automatically. Why is there anything talking like- oh, no, I don't like that question at all. So this is always going to be an issue, but so it is the way I'm deciding what's going to be relevant. So what's the okay? All right, so now we've got this. Large amounts of inflexible since it's difficult to revise. Yeah, that's fine, and I won't bother with that extra. That's not needed. So now scoring rubric, right? So I've got a prompt there to design this for each question. It's always out of 10. Time consuming, yeah. That's fine, basically. All right, so I'm going to change this to qualitative data. Yes, text classification, and that's fine. I'll change that to just methodology. Data analysis is fine. All right, so now I've got that question, right? So there's just an example of what that thinks. So I can keep adding to this and keep iterating overall. And if I go back, firstly, you'll see what does it look like when I look at my analytics. So I can see my progress on various things. Let's see an example there. So we can see how I'm hopefully gradually improving over time as I'm testing myself on various things. I can see what my best topics and tags, my worst topics and tags are. I can search for anything in here. So I've got a nice little dashboard there. And if I go back, I can see that I've got a start review. So I can see what's going on. So there's only one. What's the main drawback if I can code it now? It's going to be slightly cheating because I've literally just done that one. So it's going to be slightly too easy, but I can say coding takes a huge amount of time. Let's put something deliberate error here. It'd be difficult to. So this is something I think is plausible, but it's not actually relevant to the thing. And then we're going to put that to the AI for grading. 7 out of 10. So I get this nice little feedback here. And obviously it's got the context from the document. It's got the rubric from my creative of the quiz. So it's all very this self-contained stuff, right? You're not going to be using this for, marking an entire goddamn dissertation or something. This is for the kinds of basic, bottom couple of levels, Bloom's taxonomy, basic understanding, analysis. But it's the kind of stuff that I'm going to want to keep long-term and retention. So I can see that. Good. I can go home. So I've got nothing else for review, but it's basically, so I'm using the Anki. I just literally got Claude to search the Anki algorithm. So 4 days, then 1 to 3 days, but this changes over time. So the better you get over longer term, the more that kind of gets spaced out and see. So yeah, so this is kind of how I view at best where AI could actually help with learning. If it's doing too much, if you are putting a huge pile of papers in one go and expecting the AI to do the notes for you or do the summary for you, it's going to be a far, far worse result than if you're the one doing the actual reading of the source text, the original source. That is non-negotiable for me. Anything else is literally cheating. It's a shortcut. You're not going to get any benefit. You're going to get superficial summary knowledge at best. And you're deciding what the tests are going to be, what the notes are, and then later on I'm going to add things like, once I've got a really good corpus in place, creating my own summary that was derived out from my own reading, not the AI deciding what's important. I've already decided what's important. It's just going to configure that in a summary in a way that's kind of generated from that initial depth of effort. So yeah.